Yeah. And unfortunately, the best financial professionals aren't the smartest. They're just the ones that are most consistent, right? So
Yeah.
it's really just about,
You found the Live Local Marketing Podcast, where business owners share their knowledge about what's working in the market today. Welcome. Thanks for joining us for the Business Marketing Podcast today. We're with Matt. Sir, we're in the Chicago-ish area. How's the weather today? Is it really the Windy City today?
no, it's a beautiful day today. It's like 80 degrees, sunny, nice and humid.
Nice. But it does get windy at certain times. Winter, I believe, right? Winter it gets a little nippy.
Yeah, it really depends on the month. Like a couple weeks ago, it was snowing, and now we're at an 80-degree weather. It's crazy how much it varies.
Nice. You got to stay on your toes with that area. That's awesome. All right, so I'm excited because you're in a really nice area where you have lots of different people. So your business and your marketing is an opportunistic thing because you have lots of people and lots of contacts to, at your disposal. Can you tell people about your business and how you want them to see you in this episode?
Yeah, most definitely. I'm a husband first, father of four, also a firefighter-paramedic and retirement planner. So I help pilots turn their paychecks into playchecks when they retire.
That's perfect. I like that. All right, cool. So it's such an interesting background. Are we ready for the other questions?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's do this thing. Talk to us about your daily routine.
So most days I'm typically working from home. I have four young kids, so we're constantly running around, mix of chasing kids, dropping off kids at school, as well as, client calls, follow-ups, content, just trying to stay ahead of everything, while also being a husband and a father. So the real schedule is, built around life, the school drop-offs, chaos, and then just trying to carving out some focus time, when things are a little bit more quiet. And it's not perfect, but it works.
So that really doesn't lend you nicely to like time blocking. You're not going to be a time block type of guy. You're going to be more of a task type of goal center.
Exactly. And just like the firehouse, I'm always on call at home. So if something comes up in the other room, you might see me run out of here, change a poopy diaper, and get back with it.
Always in emergencies, either fires or poopy diaper emergencies. That's perfect. That is perfect. So, all right. So when you set up your business, then how do you set those goals for your business? How are you doing it like once a week, once a month, once a whatever? How does that look for you?
Yeah, so it kind of varies. Since I'm still technically on shift most of the week, if I have 2 days off, I'm setting goals short term and long term. So when I'm at the firehouse, I can't really commit to this, but when I'm off, fully committed, and I meeting with people on a daily basis, setting appointments, following up with people, um, creating content. So it really just kind of varies, and it's a bit chaotic, but we make it work.
So that the full time jobs kind of probably helps a little bit with your income setting goals. A lot of people have to make X amount of dollars to make it work, but you have a little bit of more flexibility. Is someday the goal to be full time financial and work your way out of fire, or are you always going to try to continue this hybrid?
I really like the fire thing, and I
Mm-hmm.
I really love being on shift with the guys.
Yeah,
And honestly, when I go to the firehouse, it's almost like a vacation away from home. So I don't see myself leaving that anytime soon.
that's
Um,
good.
but yeah, I do really like doing the financial side as well.
Yeah, it's a duality. It's a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing where you get to be two people. That's pretty cool. Talk to us about something that, during your daily grind with the financial side, we'll focus on that is stressful that people wouldn't really expect to be stressful.
Yeah, so the biggest thing really is just you know having to follow up with people. Unfortunately, people are human. They forget, they make
Yeah.
appointments, they pencil you in, but sometimes you're forgotten because it's not a priority. So really, it's almost like you're bothering them, like, hey, remember we have this appointment, or
Yeah.
hey, you're supposed to get me this document. And yeah, sometimes that's a bit frustrating because you don't want to bother people, but at the same time, you want to get to a level where you want to be able to help them, right?
Mhm. So how do you maintain that patience? Is there something you say to yourself as like a mindset trick or anything where like you can help yourself get, or do you just lose patience and say, hey, listen, get this stuff done because we got to, how does it look for you?
Yeah, you really just have to meet people where they're at.
Yeah.
All the people we meet with are in all different stages of life. Some have kids, some don't have kids, some are on the job, some are on flight schedules. So you just have to, meet them where they're at, and just realize that you're everyone cannot build around you. You just have to kind of
Yeah.
build around them, right? And
Yeah.
um, just like I said, like meet people where they're at and make sure that you know you're patient with them, right? Because we're
Yeah.
all we're all going through something, right?
That's absolutely true. So that's for sure, for sure. Like, and so when you're balancing and juggling all these different things, do you have like calendar reminders? Do you have like a text message yourself? Like, what strategies are you using to help keep all of this stuff flowing? A quick break before we get to that next answer, because I know that answer is going to be brilliant, which is why I chose this moment to interrupt. If you love what you're seeing and you want to run your business off of warm marketing and referrals, visit our website, livelocalwarmmarketing.com. It's got valuable resources, office hours, memberships, the book, an array of resources to help you get rid of cold calls, cold leads, door knocking, and run a business you can be proud of through referrals and warm marketing. Now, back to the show.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I have a CRM, I have shared calendar that has
Perfect.
family events, kids events,
Yeah.
wife
Yeah.
events. You gotta fit in the monthly date night with the wife. I have a CRM that's really good with follow ups and has workflows.
It's awesome.
And then I also invest in myself a lot too. I have several masterminds that I'm in with social media and marketing. So those things kind of help me stay accountable as well. But yeah, really, it's just trying to make it all flow together.
Yeah, yeah. I'm imagining your calendar probably looks like Fourth of July fireworks. There's probably like little colors and things and stuff all over the place that you got to keep track of, I'm sure. That's going to be interesting.
Exactly.
All
Yeah.
right, so talk to us about when you sit down with people, who is your ideal customer? Like all of them are obviously everybody and all people, but really who is the ideal, like your sweet spot?
Yeah, for sure. And right now it's pilots, within about 5 years or so of retirement.
Okay.
And I figured that out by basically doing the opposite first, trying to serve everyone when I first started.
Yeah.
But once I narrowed it down a little bit, everything got a little easier. Messaging, content, and even conversations start to click a little faster, right? So
Yeah.
I think when you really niche down, that helps a lot in this particular business.
Are you finding yourself also successful in the firefighting space, or is it like, hey, I'm firefighting, they see me that way, I need to be somebody else on the financial side, and firefighters really don't use me so much for my financial services?
Yeah, it's mainly for, I would say, pilots, just because,
Yeah,
yeah, firefighters are in a bit of a unique position where they're oftentimes retiring at an earlier age than most
yeah,
people.
it's true.
A lot of firefighters at my firehouse retire at 50 or 55. So they're in a little bit more unique position as far as retirement planning. Um, so typically I try and stay with more like the general pilots that, either are forced to retire at 65 or maybe working beyond 55 or excuse me,
Got
65.
it. Okay. That makes sense. So that's awesome. So aside from pilots, you've got kids running all over the place. I'm sure you're bumping into parents and things and so forth with all these events and birthday parties and all these different things that you go to as well. Does that help you with any client leads and stuff as well, or is that just a different phase of your life?
Yeah, no, it's a different phase of my life.
Okay.
When I'm at kids events, I try and just be present. I
Got it.
try not to bring up work and, just talk about normal parent things. If there's an
Got you.
opportunity and someone's, looking for help or knows what I do, maybe they see a social media post, I'm always happy to talk about that. But I learned early that I was a little bit too salesy in my career. And I think I kind of rubs people the wrong way, right? And
Yeah.
I think people are more open to reach out if they need help.
Gotcha. I got you. So you say salesy. So if you're somebody that you got rid of the salesy side, what would you identify your brand is? Because there's a lot of saturation in your space, a lot of financial people. How do you find ways to separate yourself amongst the others?
Yeah, so basically, it actually came from me just wanting something that felt a little bit more grounded. Like growing up,
Yeah.
I was not a big fan of salespeople. I hate car dealerships. I never answer the door for door knockers.
Yeah.
Uh, but I wanted something that just didn't feel, flashy or like corporate, right? So something just a little bit more stable. And that's really like most of my clients anyway.
Mm.
They're not into that type of salesperson. They just want someone to meet them where they're at and kind of talk a little bit more on their level, right?
So how does it come up then when you're talking to pilots and stuff? So if you're doing a lot of pilots and you're helping them out a lot and they're kind of an ideal customer, like how does it even come up with conversation? How do you work that in?
Yeah, so my biggest thing right now is because I work from home, I'm 100% virtual. A lot of my leads come in through LinkedIn. So really,
Oh,
it's
okay.
just creating content on LinkedIn tailored to pilots and just kind of um, interacting with pilots on their posts, having them interact with my posts, and just kind of starting conversations that way.
Okay. That makes sense. Now, do you also like end up snagging some people that aren't pilots as well, just by accident because you're just putting out good content?
Yeah, most definitely. I think LinkedIn is one of the most underutilized platforms, and
Yeah.
I think it's like the new Facebook for the business world. So there are quite a lot of leads on LinkedIn, and you know, I think just like Facebook, it has its pros and cons, right? But right now, it seems like LinkedIn's pretty hot with leads.
Yeah, that's where you meet most of your people. So is that so my next question then is talk to us about something that's repetitive that seems to be moving the needle. Would LinkedIn be that answer? Like I'm messaging in DM and doing all those things. Is that the repetitive, kind of sometimes boring but effective strategy you're using?
Yeah, yeah, and unfortunately, the best financial professionals aren't the smartest. They're just the ones that are most consistent, right? So
Yeah.
it's really just about grinding every day, just staying consistent and messaging people. You might get 55 no's, but maybe that 56 is a yes, right? So
Yeah.
it's all about having systems in place and, staying consistent.
So what's that message look like? So you can't be salesy. You can't say, "Hey, I'm Matt. I can help you with your finances," because no one's reading that thing, and they're all just going to throw that right in the trash. What is it you're saying that actually is starting up some kind of conversation?
Yeah. So it's really just, kind of like we talked about meeting them where they're at. So maybe it was a Facebook post. Maybe they're
Mm-hmm.
celebrating, 10 years at American Airlines. So it's like, hey, I saw your post about your anniversary at 10 years. What's been the best thing so far? Or, maybe someone just had a birthday celebration with their wife. And maybe it's as simple as just asking, hey, what kind of fun thing did you do for your wife's birthday? It's just kind of, getting on their level and just talking to them like they're a normal human person because, behind the screen, we all have lives, right? So it's just about meeting them where they're at.
So that's probably a slow roll conversation. Like you really work that thing down, and it doesn't really come up for a few messages back and forth. Or is it like, hey, they will eventually look at your profile and see that's what you do? Like, what does the approach look like? You just have a conversation.
Yeah. So it can be, it kind of depends. It can be,
Okay,
weeks or months long conversation, or it can just be
got
like,
it.
hey, something just came up. I was looking at my 401k the other day and I had a question. Uh,
Oh,
sometimes it's just like, you're kind of beating around the bush, just talking personal, talking fatherhood, being a husband, being away, working shift life, and then something comes up. So, it's different for every case, really.
yeah, true. Well, how many of those do you do a day that you're not in the fire hall? Because I'm assuming fire hall probably throws off those numbers depending on what you're dealing with that day. On a
Yeah.
normal day, how many are you sending out?
I would say on a normal week, because my days kind of fluctuate, anywhere from 50 to 100 messages a week.
That's a
And
lot.
yeah, so it can be time consuming. So it just kind of, yeah, it varies.
That is amazing. So, as you start working with people, and I know your industry, this is big too. How are you getting reviews? How do reviews work in your marketing?
Yeah, so I just try and keep it simple.
Okay.
If someone has a good experience, I just ask them kind of directly.
Yeah.
Um, if something ever went sideways, I think the most important thing is just kind of fixing it first.
Yep.
Not defending it, right? So just making it simple, just sending them, a positive feedback from my perspective, and then just asking them if they wound up getting a good experience too. Feel free to leave a
Cool.
review here and make it easy is the big thing.
Yeah, it's true. Are you collecting them on like Google then, or what are you collecting them at?
Yeah, so most of my reviews are on Google Business. I have a Google Business
Yeah.
listing, and yeah, that just makes it easy. Most people have a Gmail or a Google account, and then they can just sign in, or they're already signed in and start typing in the review right away.
That makes it easy. You don't really leave. You don't do prompts. I know some people that a prompt and say, "Listen, if you want to," you just say, "Hey, say what you want to say. Here's the link," and you just let it kind of go free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big
Yeah.
proponent of being honest. So, if they
Yeah.
had a good experience, I'd want them to kind of, give their perspective on how I helped them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Are you tossing them on LinkedIn too? Since you do so much back and forth and you're doing 50 to 100 messages on LinkedIn, do you post those on LinkedIn as well?
Yeah. So, I'll recreate content. So I'll maybe screenshot a review and maybe
Cool.
type a little bit of message or post about it. So yeah, definitely repurposing reviews however I can to kind of make them stand out a little bit more.
Yeah, those are easy wins. That doesn't take you very long. It takes you a lot less for that than all the DM messages, I bet.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Doesn't
Well, do
hurt
you ever have them do?
either.
Yep. Sorry, go ahead.
So it doesn't hurt my ego as much either, and
That's
I'm
right.
creating it.
Yeah. So you're getting somebody to say nice finally instead of repetition of it all. Yeah. Do you ever have people do like the LinkedIn reviews too? Those are also pretty neat
I
and helpful.
haven't dived into the LinkedIn reviews. I know those have become a little bit more popular.
They have.
Yeah, but I should probably dive into those. Have you had
Man, I'll
experience?
have to do one. Great podcast guest. I'm going to do the first one for you. It's going to be the first one. I'm going to hop in there your LinkedIn and talk about your podcast guest skills. That'll be the first one for you.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
Be perfect. There you go. That's awesome. All right, cool. So before we get to the business and how people get a hold of you, I have one more question for you. And talk to us about the best referral you were ever given.
Oh, let's see. The best referral I was ever given. I would
You don't
say,
have to give names if you don't want to. It's fine. You
yeah.
don't have to do names.
I would just say it was recently. It was just a pilot. He had a good experience. He bought a pretty expensive policy, and he wound up introducing me to three other pilots.
That's cool.
And yeah, that moved my business pretty far, and it was just as simple as asking him for the review. It wasn't anything super salesy, and he was happy to provide that.
I mean, that's an amazing niche because I'm assuming that the pilot community is pretty tight knit. Those guys probably all and girls probably all talk to each other, right?
Yeah, the pilot community is definitely very tight. They have their own
Yeah.
lingo. They meet, they see each other in passing. They follow each other on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty tight community.
So you're hitting up people that are like commercial airlines, independent airlines, like all the different types of pilots. It doesn't matter as long as you're able to fly a plane. I can help you with your policy, your information, your finances.
Yeah, exactly. It's
That's
really
cool.
any type of pilot. Some of the big commercial pilots, they typically have a pension with them, so
Yeah.
um, they might be a little bit more busier or have crazier schedules. So yeah, but I can work with any independent or commercial pilots.
So does that mean you're able to go in any state, or do you stick in Illinois?
Yep, I can go in all 50 states,
That's
which
cool.
is nice.
All right. So where's the farthest policy you've done? I'm curious now too. That
Let's see. I wrote one in California, so I'm in Chicago. So that's probably, halfway across the
the
US.
farthest.
Yeah.
There you go. And as a pilot, because I mean, obviously, it doesn't matter. You can meet. Yeah, that's a lot of fluidity there. So it was a pilot there in California.
Yep, it was a pilot. He was
Yeah.
just he's getting ready to retire the next 5 years. So he was kind of looking at something to maybe help get him set up a little bit better for some guaranteed income and kind of fill his pension gap. So when he does retire, he'll get a pension, but he won't be making the same amount of money he's making now. So we kind of helped bridge that gap.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a lot of the policies. Because anytime I hear the word pension, I think, well, that's not going to cover everything. So I'm sure you do a lot of that and help people quite a bit with that element of their business. So let's talk about where people can follow you, especially your LinkedIn, and where can they get information, or if they want to book an appointment with you.
Yeah, they can just visit me at redstoneretirement.com. Also on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, under Matt Harris
TikTok?
Planner.
You're a TikToker too, man? Oh, man,
Very
I didn't know
rarely,
that.
but I'm on there.
I'm on there. I mostly follow you on LinkedIn and YouTube. I didn't know you were a TikToker, but I don't do the TikTok. I'm not very good with that. I'm over look at those gray hair. Gray hair tells you that I'm not a TikToker or very good at it. So anyway, sorry, finish up. So you can follow you there. You have a website as well, you said?
Yeah, redstoneretirement.com.
Perfect.
And yeah, feel free to message me. You can even call me on my phone, 708-505-7686.
There you go. Now you're all set. So if you're a pilot or anybody really, and you want to sit down and have a chat with Matt and how to fill those pension gaps and all the different things that he can do, give him a call, check him out, and make sure you follow his LinkedIn, because he's a lot of cool videos. He's got a lot of flying videos, a lot of fun things too that you need to check out and see as well. Matt, I appreciate your time and your help today. I love the different perspective you give, that your deep niche, and the fact that you have such a big community that you're trying to draw into. It's all really fascinating stuff.
Oh, thanks for having me on here, Billy. It's been my pleasure. And keep doing what you're doing. This is awesome. This is a great podcast.
And if authentic, practical marketing resonates with you, be sure to visit livelocalwarmmarketing.com and learn to grow your business on warm marketing referrals.